ambassador. The Texas Photography Program is designed to educate and spread the art of photography. When I first began taking photos, I was completely clueless and had no idea what I was doing. It took me months and many Google searches to reach an understanding. I've come a long way since last year, but as with anything, there's still much to learn. So please be patient with yourself because photography can be challenging. I created this brief slideshow to help you along your journey. So starting off, these are a few different cameras that you can have. So your camera phone, which is, iPhones, Samsungs, anything of that sort. You have your Ultra N compacts, which are Sony CyberShots HX300, Nikon Coolpix P6110. These are fairly cheap cameras. They're easy to use and they don't require any additional gear such as lenses or flash. You have your regular compact cameras, which are a few are Sony CyberShots DSC WX500, Canon PowerShot 5X610 HS, and these range from $100 to $1,000. These also require no additional gear. You have your high-end DSLR cameras, which are Canons, Nikons, Sonys. These have long battery life. You adjust the manual settings, and they're anywhere from $500 to $2,000. These are a few of the lens ranges you can get to go with the DSLR cameras. So if you were taking anything close, such as portraits of people or things about 35, 50 millimeters from you, not too far, you get your normal wide angle, extreme wide angle lenses. Those usually come with your camera, as well as telephoto, which is farther out for landscapes and animals
See, this is what
and anything a distance away from you.
you can change your focal length.
What did you say?
You're good. I think her thing just came unmuted real fast.
So we're getting into the actual manual photography section, which photography is just a collection of these three elements. Your aperture, which is how far your camera lens opens. Your shutter speed, which is how far the shutter clicks open and closed. And your ISO, which basically functions as a light filter. I'm going to talk about a few of the competitions and elements you can add to spice up your photos. So bokeh is a blurred background. Here are a few examples of that. So you'll have your focal point, such as this bird or the fortune cookie, or these people letting off the lantern, and the background is totally blurred, so all you see is the image that you have in focus. To capture these photos, you want a large opening of your lens from your lowest to about 5.6. You want a shallow depth of field, which is this limited background that you see behind the focal point. And you want your shutter speed to be fairly fast, so you can capture images like this bird or the lantern or this cat as they do move quickly. Patterns are appealing to the eye, and they'll add a little spice to your photo and help you in the storytelling area. So just repeating items or patterns that can be seen or expected, like the feathers or the tables. Color also adds a little bit of emotion and storytelling to your photos. These are used in company brands to make you feel maybe that this company is revolutionary or friendly, such as Nickelodeon. Warm tones, if you want to create like an angry, warm, welcoming tone, such as a Christmas scene where you want them to feel the warmth of a fire through the photo. Cool tones are used to create a calming, kind of open mood. Cool tones should not be used in foods because foods aren't very satisfying if they are blue or purple. to the eye, minus blueberries, they're an exception. Leading lines is a category in the photography contest. So these can be made with a number of elements, and they are basically lines that lead to your focal point. So for example, this railroad is leading deeper into the forest, so it creates depth and perspective in your photos. These lines are leading to the woman in the middle. And the planks of this boardwalk are leading down the city, and it creates a little bit of depth as you see it travel off. Okay, macro photography, which is another category in the competition. This is magnifying objects that you could not otherwise see. So close-ups of bugs, bug eyes, or droplets. Anything small that you are making to seem larger in appearance. So in order to capture these photos, you want your camera to be open fairly large. Long exposure, another category where your lens is open for a long period of time, which involves your shutter speed. You're going to need a tripod for this, or your photo will come out very blurry or very bright. So you want to set it anywhere from 5 seconds to 30 seconds. The darker the room or the setting you're in, you're going to want to increase the amount of time that your shutter is open, so 30 seconds. The ISO, you're going to want to filter out a lot of light as there's not much if it's a dark area. So for example, this photo was done in the dark completely, and they are waving around a glow stick or a light source, and it created these spindles all around. So you would just press your photo taking button, leave it on the tripod for 30 seconds, and spin the light around. And at the end of those 30 seconds, you'll end up with an image similar to this. You can also write words or outline people with the light source that you're using. Long shutter speed opening also creates smooth water images. So when you see smooth waterfalls, they've left the shutter open for a long time. And these light trails here are created by cars, also from leaving the shutter on for a long period of time. Forced perspective, which is the newest category for 2020-2021. So these are taken by having your image that you want to appear larger closer to your camera. And the bigger image that you are making seem small in comparison should be farther out. So forced perspective is optical illusions like these photos here, or making a Lego seem bigger than it is, or making an image seem upside down, such as a reflection in the water. People portraits. So you want a bokeh or blurred background so that the people or the person that you're photographing is completely in focus. You're going to want a fast shutter speed so you don't capture them blinking or moving or any minor movements that may go on in the background. If you are taking pictures of people, make sure that they know, get their consent, as she was talking about with the written form, and make sure your portraits are ethical. So if someone is bleeding or pain is being inflicted, please do not take photos of that. And make sure that whatever you're photographing is okay. Motion shots, such as these people racing or this zebra, require a quick shutter speed so you can freeze the image in motion. You want to leave room for whatever you were photographing to move into. So for example, this zebra has space to move into here, and these runners have space over here on this right side as well. And here is the official photography contest score sheet. Whenever you take your photos, it'd be helpful to go and grade yourself and perhaps leave some comments. This site can be used to access this score sheet or any other rules pertaining to the photography contest. When you're out photographing, remember to tell a story with your image. When I take my pictures, I always create a story in my head to go along with them. Stay true to the category. Make sure you follow the purpose. And be true to yourself. Photograph something that you enjoy. And don't worry too much about the rules, because photography is open for creativity, which is the next rule. Be creative and have fun. And here are a few editing software apps you can use if you are manipulating your photos in any way. And if you have any questions later, or maybe I didn't cover something enough or as much as you needed, feel free to email me or call me anytime. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Anaya. Will you go back to your editing slideshow there, your slide for your edit? There you go. I was looking through those earlier, and I've never used any of those myself. Have you used any of them?
I use Adobe Photoshop Lightroom.
Okay.
I also use the Lightroom, Miss Christie, and Canva.
Okay. So I've used Canva for, you know, what we use Canva for at work, Rachel, but I couldn't figure out how to work Canva for photo editing. I mean, I could crop it and stuff, I guess, but I couldn't figure out, you know, enhancing it in any way. Maybe that's just me. But that Adobe Photoshop Express editor looked really easy when I was looking through it earlier. And all of these are free. Yes, is what I wanted to point out, is that all of those are free. There's lots of different free versions of things. So you don't have to pay for it. You know, you don't have to pay for any type of a software. Just make sure that you give it a try. Rachel, you have to show me the Canva one day.
Alrighty.
Because I couldn't even figure out where to upload my photo to start the process. I tried it earlier today. Anyhow, so that'll kind of take us back to one of the things that I see a lot when we're looking at photos that kids turn in for their photography contests, is that they don't edit them. Okay. So we want you to know that it is okay to edit them and play around with them and enhance your photos in some way. That is not manipulating the photo that you took, in all honesty. Okay. So yes, there's that one category that uses all that technical stuff that you can do with this photo editing. That's a little different than what I'm talking about. Hanaya, are you on a computer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you see about, do you have Adobe, the Lightroom? Do you have it where we could upload a photo and you could show some basic stuff?
Not on my computer. Sorry.
Okay. You're okay. I don't have it either. I have Photoshop on mine and I don't want to use it.
Miss Christie, the Lightroom, I'm like Hanaya, I have it as an app on my phone and do the editing through it because they have the presets and those kinds of things for your photos. But I have it on my phone as an app. I don't have it on my computer.
Gotcha. So we may not be able to show those things, but I guess we could just show the basic, you know, I am on a laptop, and the laptop came with some basic editing software. When I open up my photos, like it just automatically, I can, you know, it asks, do you want to crop? Do you want to do whatever? So those are perfectly fine to use too. Cropping is probably the number one thing that I see. Hanaya, if you'll stop sharing yours, I'm going to pull mine up. I'm going to pull something up and show y'all. It's going to take me a second to pull it up on my computer. So we have a contest called Photography Judging Contest. It's just like a livestock judging contest where they give you 4 animals and you have to rank them 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have that in photography also. So I thought I might show you some of these. and things that we've done in the past. And I went to the wrong place, so hold on. I can show you the district contest from 2019, I think. I'm still here. I know I'm quiet, but okay. I'm gonna share my screen real fast. Oh, Mom, kiddos. Sorry, my kids came in from outside. Could you hear them? I'm gonna attempt to share my screen. This is the one I want you to see. Okay, so it may take it a second to pull up, but when we did this contest, what we did is take a whole bunch of, this was an action class. Okay, so you can just take a photo. I hope you can see it. Did it pop up to a bigger picture for you all? Like, are you still seeing the right screen, I guess is what I'm.
Right now, we still just see the icons.
Okay. Let me see if I can go back to this one. It opened it up in a new thing. I have too many windows open on my thing, y'all. Share screen. This one. Okay. So now you should be seeing it's a football photo.
Yes, ma'am, we can see it.
Okay. So we don't have to use this photo as is when we would be entering it. Okay. We could crop it. I don't even know if you see do you see that the edit stuff pop up?
Yeah. Yes,
So
ma'am.
yes or no, Rachel? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So good deal. So I'm just going to crop it, and let's just say I want to take number 2 out of it because he's distracting. But now see how I know it's probably not happening as fast as it is on for you as it is for me. But do you see now that I kind of got a random number 33 and a half of a football player over there? That's kind of distracting too, right? I don't really like that. So I can still crop it out some more. All right, there we go. But now I got some random feet over there that I don't really like. So let's do it some more. So do you see what I'm doing where you're trying to get to the better picture? Now we have a guy like flying through the air over here on the right side. So do you see what I mean by it's still the same photo that I took, but I was able to center in on something different and not really, I didn't really change anything about my photo. So that type of editing is perfectly fine. Okay.
Miss Christie, I also have Canva pulled up and can show some on that as well.
Okay, we will do that in just a second. I'm going to go back. I'm going to stop sharing real quick, and I'm going to pull up a different set of this for you so that you can see some of what okay, good deal. That's what I wanted it to do. I actually have some district photos from a few years ago, and that's what I want you to see, hopefully. Yeah, let me reshare now. This would have been in the floral category a few years ago. Okay. So if you look at it, there's just not a whole lot interesting with that photo, right? Yeah, they're pretty pictures, but it's just, I can't say that it emits any emotion or there's anything that stands out and makes it just a beautiful photo, right? to where, let's see what happens if I pull this photo over here. What if I, do you see the new photo now on screen too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So you see there's a different, it's still floral, right? But it's completely different, and it gives you it's just more interesting to look at. Not saying it's perfect by any shape, form, or fashion, but it gives you different emotions, different feels. It draws you into to one spot to where the lavender one didn't, kind of a thing. This leaf or whatever this is on the ground over there is kind of, or under the water, it's kind of distracting in it. Not perfect, but do you see the difference in how it's what you see in it as the photographer. Okay, I'm going to exit that one. I'm going to show you another one. Another category. Animals are always the one that I'm not even seeing any animals. Okay, here's some iguanas. We did an iguanas class. All right, so there's an iguana. Is he up on y'all's screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you see that he's kind of blurry, right? But there's more rock than there is iguana in the picture, and it's just not the highest quality photo. We could have taken this same photo, maybe gotten in front of him and tried to get him head on, or some type of a different shot to get him, and it could have made it a whole lot more interesting. But at this point, he's too centered on that piece of paper, and or on that photo, and he's not near clear enough. So I'm going to pull up another one. Okay. Miss Rachel, is he up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here's another one. When you're looking at him, at least the look on his face is a little clearer and it's a little bit better. But do you see that piece of grass that goes right there up underneath his chin from the right side? It's distracting, right? Y'all see that too, right? Not just me. And then his tail is cut off. Doesn't even have the whole his whole tail in there. There's too much ground in the forefront of the photo. Again, we could have cropped this photo differently and probably gotten a cuter shot. Cuter may not be the right word. More creative shot. And here, actually, here is another one. It looks like the same iguana to me. I can't tell if it is exactly, but there's another shot of an iguana. But do you see how his paw is cut off? Or the iguanas have paws. See how his foot is chopped off there at the front? And then whatever that dead leaf is in the back is just distracting. But the look on his face is much more, I don't even know what the word is. It draws emotion out of it from much better than the others did. And then here's one more. We have a couple of iguanas. There's probably too much water in this photo, and they're not looking at us, so they're just not quite as interesting as maybe the guy with his face. So do you see what we're talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about? Like where everybody's going to have, say, animals in their photo, and you've got to make yours draw the judge's attention in some way. And you're going to be using your emotions and what you see, but you're going to be using your editing tools to be able to enhance your photo and bring out what you as the photographer want to bring out in that photo. Does that make sense? I'm going to stop sharing. I'm not sure y'all can see me. Does that make sense, kind of? Give me something. I feel like I'm talking to myself again. Anybody still here? Yes,
Yes,
no, maybe? There. Audrey and Lucas are. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, Rachel, do you want to share yours and show the Canva
Sure.
editing stuff real fast?
Yeah. So let me get it pulled up. Can y'all see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So canva.com is where I'm at. I just selected, you can see up here where there's all different kinds of things that you can do in Canva. We use it a lot for social media posts, flyers, those kinds of things. I went ahead and just selected poster. And then I came over here to upload and I uploaded a picture of my dog. Okay, that's the picture I'm going to use today. And the first thing is your sizing. So right now it says 18 by 24. You can change it to whatever you want. I have it in inches. You can change it to centimeters, millimeters, pixels, whatever you'd like to do. We're just going to do an 8 by 10 for now and resize it. Okay. So here's our picture. If you double click on it, you can kind of see where it has moved. And you see as I go to move it, a grid pops up. Miss Christie had kind of talked about on that iguana earlier, things kind of being more centered. This particular picture, I just don't have a whole lot of room to work with. It was one I took of my dog, I don't know how long ago. So she is pretty centered, and you can just kind of see in the grid how I have her here. You could crop it just how Miss Christie was talking about. Wait, there we go. Like I could, hang on just a second. I don't have a lot of room because this isn't a super large photo, but I could crop it more if I had more excess space. But it is just a photo from my phone, so we kind of have to be careful with that. Some other things you can do is the brightness, contrast, those kinds of things. You can play with that until you have it. Right there, the picture's a little dark. That's the way it was taken. You can edit it as you see fit. That's probably a little too bright. Your tint. The other option that you have are filters. Just to kind of give you some examples. If y'all have any questions, by all means, stop me. Miss Christie, you do the same. There are some effects. I will tell you, I use the free version of Canva, like Miss Christie said, but there are ones that you can purchase. These are not any that I think you would want to use for a 4-H photography project, but there are things that you can use to, that you can purchase to use to edit your pictures. But just to show you how I got my picture on here, I think I skipped that, I'm sorry. I went to uploads, just uploaded from media. You can select where you want it to come from, and then it'll just pop up. So actually fairly simple, and just kind of gives you another option to edit your picture how you would like.
Thank you, Miss Rachel. I actually learned that. I didn't know that that was even an option on Canva. And it looks pretty easy.
Yes, it is. And there are, sorry, I didn't mean to click on that, styles. There are other, like I said, other filters on here. I would probably stick more to this adjust and crop than, unless you're doing the grayscale or black and white. But you can kind of see, you can change the intensity, those kinds of things. But it's very, very simple to use.
Those other effects that you're talking about, those are the ones that would go into that technical category that I was talking about. Into that, what was it called, Hanaya? Do you remember? It was that one on that first row, bottom left of the piece of paper, where you would be manipulating your photo, like you would totally pixelate it, or like these things that it's saved in.
And you can see, like, if I go to click on it, I don't, like I said, I don't use I use the free version. So there are parts of Canva that you can pay for. So
Okay, so that's helpful. Another one of the issues, I guess, that I see people or kids do when they turn in their photos is they leave, some of them even leave the, I don't even know, the date stamp. Is that the right word that I might want to use, where your camera automatically stamps the date down into it digitally? You want to make sure that you remove that. You crop it out if you don't have any other option for it. I've seen some where, you know, they're trying to get a landscape of some sort, but there's something between the photographer and the landscape that they're trying. And so the camera actually, like mine's trying to zoom in with me. You know, he's trying to, the camera lens actually focuses on the front of it instead of the back of the photo that the photographer's trying to get. I see that a good bit. And I see a good bit of, you know, like especially in that landscape one, let's say we've got a really pretty sunset that we're trying to do in the back pasture or something, and you get a whole lot of sky. So like, let's see, I'm going to change my thing. Like, here we go. Like right now, here's my landscape, but my landscape would stop right here. And then I have a whole big photo up here that's nothing but blue sky. And that's not quite what you're looking for, I suppose. If you've got a really pretty sunset and you got clouds that are doing some awesome things, then yes, that would be part of your landscape. But if you're just doing what the colors and the scope of your land, whatever it is that you might do, don't have too much of your sky in there. You're going to kind of want to even it out. And then I showed it on my screen a while ago, and I showed it, and Miss Rachel showed it when she was doing that editing software. You know how it automatically puts it in that 9 square grid that's there? That's called the rule of thirds. So it's doing it for you. Every photo, I'm looking at myself in my little camera here. So in my thing. So this from here up would be the first third, then you would have the second third, and then from here down would be the bottom third, okay, of a horizontal photo. And then you also, it cuts it here for, well, here I guess for 1/3, and then here for the second, and then this would be the third. You don't ever want something right here in the middle of your screen, okay? It would be too centered. So you would be trying to, I'm going to change my stuff, you know, like where it might be over here, or I like my modeling that I'm doing over here, whatever it might be. You don't want to be too centered in that. So that's where your cropping comes into effect to make the photo more interesting. There are some pretty cool photography workbooks. Workbooks, that made me sound really old when I just said that. Videos, YouTube things that you can watch and learn a whole lot about this really easily. That leading lines one that Hanaya talked about, that's some cool stuff that if you can learn just a little bit on leading lines, you start to see it in a lot of places that you go, and you probably never even realized it was there. It's probably all around your house. And don't forget that you can stage photos, okay? If you've got some cool ants that you're looking at in the yard, or in the, I don't know, on the sidewalk somewhere, you can make that line of ants go do stuff when you get down. And you can even put some, I don't even know, army men or whatever it might be to help with your stuff. You can stage some of those photos too, okay? So don't forget about that. That's part of being a photographer and learning all these different things about photography and the things that you like. But remember, it's yours, okay? It's you're the photographer, you're the creator of all of these things. So you want to try to get your audience or your judge in this aspect to see what you saw in it. Okay? So be creative. Don't be afraid to try new things with it. And you know, I can preach this all day long, and I can tell you my photos are horrible. I try, and I do try, but I'm the most horrible photographer in the world, really. If it wasn't for editing, it would be really bad within my photos. So, any questions that we could answer? Anaya, anything else you want to add? Miss Rachel, anything?
I think that's it, Miss Christie. Like you were saying, the rule of thirds is something that, like you said, a lot of YouTube videos. I mean, there's a bunch on them on different ideas and tips and tricks, especially for the different categories, but especially that rule of thirds. Like, there's a lot of photographers I know that have kind of explained that in their own way. So YouTube is definitely your friend. And when she says you don't want it directly in the center, that picture I had of Dixie, my dog, the way I was explained it, and Miss Christie, please tell me if I'm wrong, she was centered, but the focal point would have been her head, and that technically was not directly in the middle, it was in the top. So it still would have been an okay photo. Like I said, that was a picture that was taken on an iPhone. It was not anything that I was trying to enter in a contest. So it can still be in the middle. You just maybe want to do like the top center or bottom center, not directly in the middle.
And these are good for all ages, these contests. So we do have a Clover Kids. So for those of you with kindergarten through second grade, Clover Kids are able to do the county contest. And I believe they're able to do the fair contest too, in it first through 8th grade, I think is the way it's written. I think for the fair, but I know for Clover Kids, it's kindergarten through second for 4-H. And then at district, it's 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade are all in one for juniors. And then 6th, 7th, and 8th are intermediates. And then 9, 10, 11, 12 are seniors. Okay. So
Miss
all
Christie,
of these are, yeah.
Hanaya said the school photography is a great YouTube channel to get some information from.
Very good. I'm not familiar with that one, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm not a photographer. So yeah, I want to encourage everybody to enter and tell your friends about it. These are all good, safe contests. You get feedback. You know, that rubric that you saw gives you the information of what they're looking for. And so usually there's some type of feedback to tell you something to work towards or what they didn't really like about the photo. I don't know on the fair side if you get that feedback for that contest. And that's just because I've personally never entered a photo in that contest. Hanaya, have you? Do you know that? Do they give you any feedback from the fair?
I haven't entered any of the fair competitions, so I can tell you. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. I know how it works. I've just never entered any to know if we get feedback back from them or not. So, you know, and I no lie, your iPhone, perfectly fine to take your photos on your iPhones. These things take better than all kinds of cameras. Just remember that it's okay to edit them once you do. Okay. And you don't want them to be blurry, pixelated, any of that stuff. So you when you're editing them, make sure that you're taking that into consideration. You kind of heard Miss Rachel say that with the dog. She didn't leave herself a lot of room to edit that. And that's what she meant. If she would have made it any bigger, if she'd have blown the picture up, it probably would have been blurry and pixelated. Most places that you order prints from, I know Walgreens, Target, Walmart, those kind of things, when you order them, they'll tell you if the photo isn't quite right. It'll give you an error. So it'll give you some warning. This may be too pixelated. Make sure that this is what you want, kind of a thing. Thank goodness, because I would have printed some bad ones through the years. So any other questions? We'd love to answer them for you. If not, we appreciate you logging in and doing this with us. We hope you enter the fair in the 4-H contests. And if you have questions, you know where we are. Please reach out to us. We'll hang on just a few more minutes for questions in case you have them. Otherwise, we are done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hanaya, for all of your information.
Thank you. Gracias.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you, everyone.